Seit 2019 auch im Nationalteam eine Stütze. Kane!
Welcome back to the channel, because today we've got a lot to cover, from a 33-degree sauna in Florida to a pitch so bad the England coach couldn't stop complaining about it. So let's get into it. England took control right away, dominating the ball from about the 10th minute onwards, and eventually piling up 71% possession by full time, while New Zealand barely got a touch.
That's Rodgers.
Then around the 27th minute, New Zealand had their best moment of the half, when Matt Garbett fired a stinging long-range shot that forced England's keeper Jordan Pickford into a save. A little wake-up call.
Ein schlechter Versuch. So.
England answered by starting to knock on the door, and in the 34th minute, Marcus Rashford bombed down the left, reached the byline, and whipped in a deep cross for Harry Kane, whose header looked like a goal until New Zealand keeper Max Crocombe pulled off a brilliant save to deny him.
Verhöhlen Kane, aber Max Crocombe.
In the 37th minute, England wasted another big chance, as John Stones got a completely unmarked free header from a corner and couldn't convert it.
Im Verein jeweils, das ist auch schon sehr erstaunlich.
The 40th minute brought more waste, with Ollie Watkins set up by Henderson only to drag his shot wide.
Nochmal der Versuch.
England were all over them, but just couldn't finish, right up until the very last moment of the half in the 45th minute +3, when the goal finally came. Ed Spence, playing at left back, cut inside onto his right foot and whipped in a perfect cross, and Harry Kane twisted in midair to flick a clever header into the bottom corner past Crocombe for 1-0 right on half-time. And hold on to that Spence detail, because his story is great and we'll come back to it.
Seit 2019 auch im Nationalteam eine Stütze. Kane! Er ist und bleibt derjenige, um den sich alles verdient. Sie brauchen in Topform, und dann haben sie eine sehr realistische Chance.
Now here's where this game gets weird, because at halftime England did something you almost never see, changing all 11 players at once so that a brand new team walked out for the second half. It was basically two different England teams in one game, with coach Thomas Tuchel using 22 players in total and handing the whole squad minutes, something England hadn't done in a single match since 2004. And one of those fresh players was about to make history. But we'll get there, because first comes the second half. Let me back up for a second, because that mass substitution at halftime was actually highlight number 7, with all 11 England players swapped out while New Zealand only made one change. Then in the 49th minute came highlight number 8, when Dan Burn rose up just 8 yards out and beat the keeper with his header, only to watch it clang off the post so close to his first ever England goal in a career where he's never scored for his country. And that was his best chance. Then came the drama around the 61st minute, when Ivan Toney looked like he'd been brought down inside the box, and referee Natalie Simon, one of the few women refereeing men's international football, pointed to the spot. Before the flag went up, VAR checked it, and the penalty was scrapped because Toney was offside by a hair. In the 82nd minute, Jude Bellingham fired over the bar from a great spot inside the box, and we'll talk about him in a second, because his story is interesting too.
So, aber der wird, da gehe ich mal fest davon aus, überhaupt gar kein Problem damit haben, dass das so ist, Jeff.
In the 87th minute, Anthony Gordon had a shot at goal as England kept pushing for a second.
Vorne Elliot Anderson, Anthony Gordon.
Then in the 90th minute, New Zealand had the last word, when Callum McCowett got a shot off for what was their only shot on target the entire match. Full time, England 1, New Zealand 0. So let's talk about that goal, because Harry Kane is on another level right now. That header was his 79th goal for England, leaving him the all-time top scorer for his country by a mile, with Wayne Rooney way back in second on 53. But here's the crazy part, because that was also his 67th goal of the season for club and country combined, a number that's almost unheard of in modern football. And for Bayern Munich alone this season, he scored 61 goals in 51 games. His 79 England goals now match Neymar's total for Brazil, and he's just 5 goals behind one of the all-time greats in Ferenc Puskás. After the game, Kane said it himself, that he's in the best shape of his career both physically and mentally, and the scary thing for the rest of the World Cup is that he might just be getting started. Now, for those stories I promised you, starting with Jed Spence, the guy who set up the goal. Spence is normally a right back, but in this game he played left back on the opposite side, which meant that to deliver that perfect cross, he had to cut inside onto his weaker right foot. A move that shouldn't work and yet worked perfectly, so much so that his old teammate Eric Dier messaged him afterward to say it would be one of the best experiences of his career. Then there's the 17-year-old Rion Gumoha, who came on to become the 5th youngest player ever to play for England at 17 years and 281 days old. And get this, he wasn't even meant to be in the World Cup squad, having just been invited to the training camp in Miami to help the others practice. He got a phone call while sitting at home and simply answered, "Yeah, of course," then went out and won man of the match for the second half as a teenager on his debut, later describing it as a crazy feeling. "I was happy. I was buzzing," with Jude Bellingham handing him his first England cap on camera. And speaking of Bellingham, he didn't even start this game, which got people talking about whether he was being rested or dropped. But the second he came on at halftime, he looked brilliant, with one reporter calling him a Rolls Royce, and the coach praising his sharpness as he reminded everyone exactly why he's so special. Let's give New Zealand some love too, because they had heroes of their own, starting with keeper Max Crocombe, who was arguably their best player, a real underdog playing for Millwall in the second tier of England, and who made save after save to keep the score down. Then there's Sarpreet Singh, who had a shot in the game and carries a special backstory, having been born in Auckland to Punjabi parents from India before becoming, back in 2019, the first player of Indian descent ever to sign for Bayern Munich, and who at this World Cup will become the first Sikh footballer ever to play at a FIFA World Cup. An incredible journey in a country that lives for rugby and cricket. And remember, New Zealand were the underdogs of all underdogs here, ranked 85th in the world as the lowest-ranked team at the entire World Cup, and coming off a 4-0 loss to Haiti in their previous warm-up. So to walk away from England only losing 1-0 was actually a step forward. And here's the detail that ties the whole thing together, because this was only the 3rd time England and New Zealand had ever played each other in history, with the first 2 meetings coming way back in 1991, 35 years ago. In that very first meeting in 1991, England won with a stoppage-time goal scored by Gary Lineker. And now, fast forward 35 years, what happened? Kane scored a winner in stoppage time right before halftime, history repeating itself almost perfectly, and England's record against New Zealand is now a perfect played 3, 1-3. So here's where it leaves us. England got the win, but the coach wasn't impressed. Kane keeps breaking records like it's nothing. A 17-year-old wrote his name into the history books, and New Zealand, the smallest team at the tournament, walked away with their heads held a little higher. Now the real thing begins with England opening their World Cup against Croatia on June 17th, while New Zealand face a brutal group alongside Belgium, Egypt, and Iran. The warm-ups are over, and after a messy, sweaty, record-breaking night like this, you have to wonder just how far this England team can really go.